Well into the industrial era, Technocracy's founders believed capitalism would fizzle out as machines would soon replace men, and they set forth to design a society that would succeed capitalism when that collapse inevitably occurred. From these key points, we can ascertain that the Technocracy was clearly anti-capitalist and anti-democratic, and it was also anti-government, but not really anti-government in a libertarian way. Its original founders believed in a radical form of social and economic equality while not identifying with Marxism. And given the context of the time, science and technology were changing the very fabric of North American society. And the Technocracy believed that only highly trained experts and scientists were capable of leading a new North America into greatness. And I reckon that the hope of greatness and prosperity held a particular appeal during the depths of the Great Depression, when the technocrats of the 1930s maintained that they would be stewards of these machines in this industrial infrastructure instead of the greedy capitalists, the current masters of those machines. And if the technocrats were allowed to rule over the natural resources that North America had to offer, the average workday for an individual would exceed no more than 2 hours. That was the original pitch, at least. But basically, our society would sink or swim based on the technicians, their own elite class or echelon, being the controllers instead of the elected politicians. And that's the key idea here. That's the takeaway. No more elected politicians, just kind of like these self-proclaimed experts leading society. While money as an exchange is at the center of a capitalist system, at the center of the technocracy is energy. And published in a bunch of pamphlets and papers well into the 1940s, the Technocracy Incorporated was really good at seeding fear over a crumbling capitalist society, wherein the monetary system crumbled and stepping in as the savior would be energy accounting, or the means of tracking how much energy was used to produce things, rather than what we do now, which is measure the cost, the monetary cost of production. In the technocratic society, energy credits were deducted when you bought something, and the certificates were issued directly to the owner. So they couldn't be bought, sold, traded, or stolen. Nobody could collect more than anybody else. Trying not to inject my opinion or skepticism here. So the North American technate is a concept that came out of the technocracy that refers to a blueprint for turning North America into a technocratic society, combining Canada's minerals and hydroelectric resources with the U.S.'s industrial infrastructure and farming strengths. This blueprint includes North and Central America, the Caribbean, parts of South America, and Greenland, that's important there, and Greenland, encompassing 30 countries and numerous other territories, and if it were implemented today, it would become the world's largest nation. Can you picture it? Stretching from the North Pole to the equator, and from the Caribbean to the international dateline in the Pacific. Also, if we're going to keep it modern for just a minute, controlling the whole Arctic doesn't hurt for a military advantage in World War III. Just as an aside. It also doesn't hurt that Greenland has many untapped deposits of rare earth minerals to be used for electric vehicles and windmills. The Christian perspective on technocracy that was published in 1933, entitled The Technocracy Old World, Technocracy in the Light of Prophecy, said that the technocracy was, quote, an exciting, fascinating, and disturbing idea put forth by a group of scientists and engineers. They tell us, in effect, if you hand over complete control of the business system to us, we will give every citizen a living wage for life, in return for 4 hours of work a day, 4 days a week, 10 months a year, between the ages of 25 and 45. In reality, the bait is on a hook, the probable surrender of personal liberty by the average man in order for that small group of scientists to receive absolute power over life and death over this nation, end quote. In a later chapter, the author writes, quote, while we are speaking of money, under technocracy, the present monetary system would be destroyed. This would mean that a great mass of people who have sacrificed to save something from the fruits of their labor that they might be financially independent in their old age would find themselves suddenly penniless, end quote.
All right, first and foremost, I want to begin this lesson by giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakat, Wadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. I'm the brother YASHARAHLA, back with another quick lesson, Lord willing, it's edifying. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on in the world right now. All right, a lot of prophetic things are developing. But I just wanted to make mention that this past Monday, so-called Easter Monday, you had Pope Francis at the age of 88 died. And at the same time, same day, you had the founder and the creator of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. He stepped down. All right, so they already got his replacement. I seen it on Redacted News, alternative news media, Redacted. And this replacement dude, he looked like a villain out of James Bond. All right. And this guy's the ex-CEO of the company Nestle, whatever it's called. And, that company makes a lot of bottled water and different beverages, all them different candies and poison, right? But he's a big advocate of this whole thing about how water is being wasted in the world. And it's all going to tie into the lesson, all right? Because what he's basically saying is that they need to take control of the water source, because you got people in the world who's wasting water on filling up pools and washing their car and taking long showers. But meanwhile, you have other people that's dying from dehydration. They don't have no access to any clean water, etc. So he's basically a technocrat. And don't be surprised if the next pope also has a similar sentiment to technocracy, because that's basically what's going on here. There's a technocratic overhaul, if you will, of the governments of the world. All right, and these different leaders, they all in conglomerate with the banking cartel. Well, that's another name I've been hearing for them, and I like that one. The banking cartel, which are the central banking families, the central banker, the international bankers, the ones who loan money to all the nations of the world, the ones who got the whole planet in debt to them, who are Edomites according to the Bible, so-called white people, but specifically of the tribe of Amalek, which is the so-called you, all right, the people that wear the small hats. So, yeah, man, these people, man, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers on down, they have set up these different technocrat nerds like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, etc. They all funded by the banking cartel. They're given the funds, all right, to do these different projects, man, to bring about Neuralink, right? Elon Musk Neuralink, the World Economic Forum, which is all about the 2030 agenda, basically going green, so-called, saying that, us so-called humans are destroying the planet Earth by drinking extra coffee, eating too much meat, right? Using too much energy, burning too much fuel, and all those things like that, saying that we contributing to global warming. And if they don't do something, if these technocrats don't do something, that all humanity is going to be destroyed. We're going to destroy the planet Earth, and we're the reason why there's so much poverty and hunger in the world. And it's just a bunch of bullshit, all right? Because these people are the wicked, talking about starting with the elites, all right? And the people that they set up, they are the wicked. They're the ones that's destroying the world. They're the ones that's mismanaging the planet Earth by wickedness, all right? By not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ, which are found in the Holy Bible. They're not administering the Holy Bible in the earth. And that's why all of this is happening. You see, the lands are cursed. They poison in the air. They poison in the water. They got GMO foods. That's the reason why people are dying. That's the reason why people are sick. All right. It's not because we don't have enough vaccinations. All right. According to Bill Gates, it's not because we eating too much meat and we need some lab-grown synthetic meat. These are just the different philosophies, transhumanism as well. That's another philosophy, ideology that they push. These are just the different things that they push on the people that are dumbed down. They can't think for themselves. And they think, yeah, we need to save the earth. We need to go green. And all this garbage, man. The digital ID. All of this ties into what? This is the whole point of everything that they're doing and the road that it's leading to. It's leading to them implanting the human population with a microchip, an RFID microchip implant, which is the mark of the beast, the prophecy of Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 through 18. This is what this is all about, man. All right, digitalizing the global economy, but first having to do a economic collapse of the current economy. All right, doing away with paper fiat money and bringing in digital CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. This is what it's all about, man. And between now and sometime this year, my strong belief in the spirit is that there's going to be some type of black swan events, whether it be cyber attack, new pandemic, banking system collapse, all of the above. That's going to usher in this technocracy, this fourth industrial revolution, which is also called a technocracy. And what that basically means is that these different nerds, that's what I'm gonna call them, these different Edomites that have been set up. They're not elected officials like Elon Musk. How the fuck is he in the White House? How did Trump do that? You know, how did he put this dude up there in a government position, and he's just a founder of Tesla, electric vehicles. He put him in the White House with him. That's a technocracy. All right, taking suggestions from Bill Gates, going to the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, and making them give you policies. That's a technocracy. These people are not elected officials. They're not government officials. They're not politicians. They're not governors. They're not senators. You know, they're not a part of this system, but yet they're calling the shots. They haven't been elected through democracy to basically have these positions of power and influence that they have. All right. So that being said, why are they there? Why is Elon Musk there? Because he got his Neuralink, right? Brain chip implants, microchip implants for human beings. This is what this is all about. They have to digitalize the global economy in order to bring in this digital device known as a RFID, a radio frequency identification device. All right. They have to bring this in. So these are the steps that's being taken in the direction of ultimately the bankers implanting everybody in the world with a microchip. We're telling you here at Great Millstone, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yashar, we the only camp talking about this. We the only camp bringing this stuff out. This is an article from RT, right? World Economic Order undergoing major reset. So that's why I brought up about Pope and Klaus Schwab and how the new guy coming in to replace him. That's why I brought that up, because look, that's what that really is. You got people online, because so-called conspiracy theorists, whatever, these different people trying to draw some type of conclusion about what's going on. Oh, is the New World Order being dismantled? You know, is all of our efforts paying off and spreading information? Are we winning the war now? No. You fucking idiots. No. It's called a changing of the guard. It's called resetting things. It's called moving forward. It's called growth. All right. It's called gradualism. They've done with the last phase. Now they're moving on to the next phase. That's all it is. It's undergoing a major reset. The World Economic Order is undergoing major reset. So when you reset, you put different people in place. You get rid of old policies. You put in new policies, etc. Man, that's what's going on here. You people online, you bugged out. You just, if you don't believe in the scriptures, the Holy Bible, which is the book of prophecy, the prophecies, and which is the will of Yahweh Shem Yashar, you don't really know what the hell is going on. You could see certain things, but you don't know where this is all leading to. And you got people online that think there's some type of information war, which there is, but they thinking the more they push the so-called truth, which is a subjective truth to what they think the truth is, the more you share the video, like the video, you know, share this with your friends and family, spread awareness. They think that's going to stop these people from doing what they do. No, man, they're programmed to do this. The Lord put it in their spirit to do these things. They're not going to stop for nobody. The Greater Israel Project, the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, these different agendas, the 2030, they're not going to stop any of that. You're not going to beat these people because they have to do it because it's prophecy, all right? That's the point. This global reset, this economic reset, this is a part of prophecy. This has to happen so that they could bring in the digital economy and the mark of the beast. There's nothing that anybody could do to stop it. You shouldn't want to stop it, because after that, the kingdom of heaven is going to be established. Their kingdom, they're going head first into World War III right after that. The small hat people, they're going to forward their agenda with trying to attack Iran and take over Iran. They're not going to stop just because everybody's microchip, all right? And that's going to be the end of their kingdom. That's going to be World War III. When America got to go in there, help them out. Now Russia got to get involved, because that's going to be another lesson I'm going to do, Lord willing, throughout the week. But that Russian-Iran deal, that I forgot what it's called off the top of my head, but I have my notes and stuff in the article. They signed that deal, right? And Vladimir Putin ratified it just a few days ago, so he made it official. So now Iran and Russia are official allies, and Russia is basically saying, in many words, if you attack Iran, it's like you attacking us. So there you go, Ezekiel 38 coming to pass, man. So this thing is moving, man. These prophecies are moving forward. All right. So you can't be in that spirit of, oh, spread awareness, you know, stop them. We need to, you know, people need to rebel. You can rebel, but then you're just going to die. If the Lord is not with you, ultimately, like I said earlier, if you're not in these prophecies, and really, if you're not an Israelite, all right, of the hopeful elect, you don't really have any chance to survive what's coming, man. All of you people are getting ready to go broke. You're not going to own shit. Just like Klaus Schwab said, whatever the fuck his name is, he said, you won't own nothing and be happy. They're getting ready to take everything, because if you bought something with money, guess what? That money is debt. So you really don't own that. You don't really own anything. You already don't own anything. It's just an illusion where you took this monopoly money that the bankers gave you, fiat debt-based currencies, right? And what are you supposed to do with debt? You're supposed to turn debt into actual wealth. That's the point of borrowing money. You borrow money so that you could obtain actual resources, and then you can pay the debt back and still have your resources. But America is fucking dumb. All right. This country is in $36 trillion of debt. It's really more like 260 trillion, actually. But they say, okay, 36 trillion. You never could pay that back. How the hell you going to pay that back? All right. And you don't have enough GDP. You don't have enough profit that you made off of the debt to pay back even the interest. They can't even pay the interest back, which is a wicked thing, by the way. That's usury. That's against the scripture. That's against the law. But who cares, right? The small hats, they're the damn devil. They don't follow the laws of the Bible. They don't keep righteous covenants and agreements. Their whole plan was to plunge the world into debt so that they can own the planet, man. So that they can own the people of the earth through debt. Proverbs 22:7. So I know I'm ranting, I'm rambling, but I'm gonna get to the point. Reading this article, right? I'm just gonna skim a little bit through the article, get the, you know, the important points. It says the International Monetary Fund has slashed its 2025 outlook for global growth. The IMF has cut its global growth forecast, saying that the global economic system is undergoing a fundamental transformation amid mounting uncertainty over U.S. trade policy. So that transformation is going from physical paper money to digital money. All right. So basically, once again, you got people who are rich. They got millions, you know, billions of paper money. Once this transformation takes place and the global reset is here, that money is not worth anything no more, because it's not, you have to have it in a digital form. You have to have it in a CBDC form. So therefore, everybody has been reset to zero. And they're going to be the ones to distribute how much energy you can use, how much CBDC we're going to give you. This is a major part of what technocracy is. The whole UBI, Universal Basic Income. They give you a certain amount of programmable digital money. You could only use this much for this, that much for that. You could only use this much electricity. You could only drive this much a week. You could only watch this much TV, etc., etc. Full control over your life. Because that's what this really is all about. They want this new world order because they want to be in a position of power forever. They don't want to give up their kingdom. And that's a vain thing. Psalms 2:1. I'm going to get to these scriptures in a sec. All right. But what they're imagining is not the truth. Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah is not going to allow them to obtain these things. They're going to get a taste of this new world order. They're going to microchip people. They're going to bring in this digital economic system. But it's not going to last forever. Shortly after that, World War III is going to go nuclear. Shortly after that, the least of the flock is going to draw out America into this third world war in the Middle East, getting Russia and China involved. All right, who are allies to Iran. See, they're going to basically make this thing go nuclear, whether they want to or not. So they're not going to ever obtain everlasting dominion on the earth. It's not the will of the Father. It was not given to them. That is given to the nation of Israel, okay? But still, they moving forward with their plan. I'm going to get Job the 5th chapter after this. Continuing on, it says, since returning to office in January, U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed sweeping trade restrictions, culminating in what he calls Liberation Day tariffs introduced on April 2nd. The tariffs have been raised to levels not seen since the Great Depression, the IMF said on Tuesday in releasing its latest World Economic Outlook. The report projects that global output will slow to 2.8% this year, down from 3.3 in 2024. There you go. So let me see. He explained that existing rules are being challenged, with new ones have yet to take shape. While new ones have yet to take shape. The sudden tariff hikes and broader policy uncertainty could signify slow global growth. So this is going to lead to a global recession, which is going to lead to a global depression, which is basically going to turn into a full-on global economic collapse. Okay? So that they could bring about this new digital system. So in a global economic collapse, it don't matter how much money you people have in the world. You all going to be brought down to zero. All right? All your resources, all your possessions, your lands, if you're fortunate enough to have your houses, all going to be seized because it all belongs to the bankers, man. You bought that through debt. You didn't buy that. It's not yours. You didn't own anything to begin with. What don't you people understand about that? You've been duped. You fell into their trap, man. And now they're going to cash out on their plans, on their schemes that they've been had for all these years, these centuries, man. So that's pretty much it on that article. Let me get to these scriptures now. I don't want to take too long. I said I was going to get Job 5 real quick. This is Job 5 and 12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. You see, they're going headlong into this new world order. They're not stopping. They're not slowing down. They're moving very sloppy. All right, and they know that they have but a short time, so they're going to do it with wrath. They're going to do it with force and violence, using martial law, using the Interpol, the international police, using UN troops, using all their might and power that they got. They're going to go full blast with this thing, man. Nobody's going to escape this, man. All right, but at the end of the day, they're going to fail in the end. They're not going to have what? Their enterprise. I'm going to read in the NLT, Job 5 and 12. He frustrates the plans of schemers so the work of their hands will not succeed. See, they're not going to have that success, that abiding success, which is their enterprise, which is to have this thing set up. Really, they want the control so they could stay in control. Nobody wants control to just be there for a few months, but that's what the reality for them is going to be. All right, why? Because it's a futile plan. And it's so dumb. What's that? That movie, Master of Disguise. Our brothers probably didn't see that one. This dude used to have a saying in the movie. He said that plan is so dumb, it might just work. It's like, that's you Edomites, man. I'm going to read it. Psalm 2 and 1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? In the NLT, why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? See, this is all a futile plan. It's going to be for nothing. All your labor is going to be to no benefit. It's going to be as if you cooked a meal, but you only got to taste it, and then the whole plate fell on the floor. All right, you took all these hours and time and dedication to create this meal. You know, it might have took you all day, and you go to take a bite, and you just barely get a little lick, a little taste of it, and then the whole thing falls to the floor. That's in comparison to what the Lord is going to do to them, man. But we got to wait upon that. We can't, there's nothing that we could do. We can but prophesy. You know, the Lord have spoken, who can but prophesy? That's all we could do. We can only prophesy these things and hope that, and we know that, but through hope, through faith, that Yahweh Shem Yahshua is going to stop these fucking devils, man. He's going to stop these madmen and these technocrats. They're not going to be able to fulfill their heart's desire, which is really insatiable. Let me get that in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, real quick. Verse 5, it says, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine. It's talking about the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, and transgressing by wine represents his philosophies. Transgression is sin, basically breaking the law, statutes, commandments of the Lord. He has created philosophies that goes against God, so to speak, the God of the Bible, Yahweh. All the laws, all the statutes and commandments that were given, the land Sabbaths, you know, how to basically, what to eat. All right, the dietary laws, he's going against all of them. He's going against every single law, statute, and commandment. Not worshiping any other God above him. This man has committed blasphemy and put himself as the Most High. Put an image of himself, Caesar Borgia, to be Jesus, so-called Jesus Christ. which really his name is Yahawashi, according to the Bible, according to the ancient Hebrew, right? But this man have went to extreme lengths in his wine, all right, being drunk in the, what is that, Isaiah, I forgot what chapter is mentioned in Isaiah, said they're drunk but not with wine, they stagger but not with strong drink. It's talking about our people, the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but how can you be drunk but without wine? It's talking about philosophy. All right, it's talking about your belief system, your faith, your reasoning, your logic. It doesn't make sense. They say the Most High doesn't exist, but then they want to be the Most High on the earth. That's an oxymoron. That's a contradiction. This man is a hypocrite. All right, he wants the full power of the Most High. You got Yuval Noah Harari. What he said? We don't need God no more. We can make our own rain. But I thought God didn't exist. But if God does exist, how could you ever say you don't need him? See, he transgressed it by wine, transhumanism, thinking they could become some extra, level human being with technology. That's a lie. All right, the only way you could be leveled up is if you're an Israelite, and that's if Yahawashi give you the new bodies, man, saves you. Change in a twinkling of an eye. 1 Corinthians 15. That's the only transhumanism, if you want to say that. But no, they want to make cyborgs. They want to enhance human beings through technology to a creature that God did not create. You see, he's transgressing by his wine. It says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death. So this man, what Trump is saying, the Manifest Destiny 2.0, Canada is just another state of America, which is some proud shit to say. Canada is his own country in itself. Now, they do a lot of things that America does. It's a democracy, etc. But they have their own jurisdiction. They're their own country. Even though it's a part of the North American continent, that's basically where Trump is coming from. This land should basically belong to us. We should call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Speaking very proudly, what is that spirit? He's neither keeping at home. First of all you devils belong in Mount Petra. Why are you not in Mount Petra? Why is that a tourist attraction for people to go to? That should be your home. You should be building upon that foundation of Mount Petra, Mount Seir. When you read Deuteronomy 32, it tells you how the Lord gave all the nations their inheritance. He divided unto them their inheritance. This man is taking everybody's inheritance. This man is covetous. He's greedy. All right, he's taking people's resources. He's taking people's lands. He's taking people's nationalities, their identities. This man cannot be satisfied, like it says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So that is their new world order. That is where they basically want to control all humanity. They want to control all the resources and distribute it as they see fit to the people. If they want to starve you, they'll starve you. If they want you to eat, you'll eat. That's basically a God complex. Okay, they want to be in power and in control, and they want that control to last forever. All right, it's not going to happen. You could reminisce on the Tower of Babel. That didn't work out, right? So why do you think you'll be able to do it? Because you're proud. You're a proud man. All right, and also I wanted to say that a big part of them controlling the earth and all of these things, the resources, is the Greater Israel Project and the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, Zionism, and why they want that land so badly. Why does Israel have to attack Iran? Why are they in a war with these Arabs in the Middle East trying to take over that region of the world? Because that is the central control. That is the fertile crescent. That is the mother of us all, Jerusalem, the promised land, Israel, which expands more than just the land of Israel in itself. It goes down to Saudi Arabia, it goes up to Syria. If I'm not mistaken, the Euphrates River, the Tigris River. And that's something I've been wanting to do, Genesis 15, but not a lesson, just studying it, looking at the map geographically, getting that imprint in my mind. But, I know it, but it's just like, you got to go over it after years. But pretty much, yeah, that's the central control for the earth. All right, so these people want that land desperately, and they're not going to stop. All right, they're not going to give up and just say, all right, we failed, just stop. We just read Job 5 and 13 and said they're carried headlong. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness and in their own counsel. He's going to lead them to their own destruction. So they're not going to stop. They're not going to turn around. So that being said, that's a part of the New World Order too. See, so they can microchip everybody, but if they don't have that land in their possession, in their control, 100%, they are not satisfied. All right, even if they did, even if, let's say, eventually they were able to do it, hypothetically, it's not going to ever happen. It's not prophecy, but let's say it was, they still would be seeking to do something else, because they say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. All right, so these people have been corrupted by their own pride, by their own spirit. They've been deceived. You know, the pride of his heart have deceived him that dwelleth in the cleft of the rock. You see? So there's nothing that these people you can ever give them, or they can have, that they will say, okay, we're done doing our wickedness. Just like it says, their desire is as hell and is as death. Hell and death, which represents the grave. The earth, you know, never says, oh man, the grave is full, because the grave is the ground. Right? When you die, you go back to the dust which you was made from. That's in Ecclesiastes. Your spirit goes back to the Most High who gave it, upward. All spirits go upward to the Most High. There's no heaven and hell. It's in the form of some spiritual realm after you die. All right, there's only a heaven, which is where all spirits go when they die. When a physical human being body dies, the spirit leaves the body and goes back to the Father. The body goes back to the earth which it was made from. The elements, you become fertilizer. All right, your body corrupts, which is decaying. What is it also called? Decomposition. All right, and you become a part of the earth again. So I'm saying that to say that the earth could never say, or the grave could never say, well, yeah, you got to wait 3 months because it's too many people dying and I need time to process these bodies, or there's no room anymore in the earth for a dead body to go. There's always room. So meaning what? He's insatiable. All right, he could kill everybody in the planet Earth. He will want to go to another planet and kill whatever life form is on that planet. He's never could get that feeling of I'm satisfied, I'm full, because it's comparing him to death and hell, which is the grave. Once again, death, what happens when you die. So this man is sick, all right? And at the end of the day, like I said, heapeth unto him all people. He's trying to gather all the nations to himself, right? To control them, to basically rule over the people, be as the stead of the Most High. And that's basically the point of the microchip, all right? That's the point of the mark of the beast, which I'll read that. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. The he is talking about the central bankers, the banking cartels, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, the Rothschilds on down. This is their plan, all right, to mark everybody. The word mark is charagma, which means an imprinted mark, a stamp, all right, G5480. And the word itself, all right, is a Greek word. It means to basically brand somebody. So when you brand something, you're basically saying it belongs to you. He heapeth all people unto himself. He marks all people in their right hand or in their forehead. This is the vision that John saw. He saw people receiving a RFID chip in their body at the behest of the central bankers. All right, and it's going to happen through these technocratic governments, all right, that they're setting up through the CBDCs, but through these dudes that's sitting up there saying, we got the plans and agendas to basically save the world. When the COVID thing happened, it wasn't the governments that so-called solved it, right? It was Bill Gates. It was these different dudes, Fauci, unelected officials, as they call them, people was never elected through democracy to be in a rulership position, and yet they were the ones who the world was following to basically, quote unquote, save us from COVID. So whatever this next thing is going to be, it's going to be worse, all right? It's going to be worse than COVID, and it's going to be basically a rerun. You're going to have these certain people, they're going to come up, yeah, we need to take this chip. Well, who the hell are you? Well, the government is going to basically give their power to these technocrats, which is completely against the Constitution. It's 100% illegal, but they still did it, right? They still mandated the vaccine. So it doesn't matter what you people, oh, my freedoms. This is a democracy. I'm an American. It doesn't matter. You're about to find out they're going to take everything from you that you already don't own. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the bankers. right? They're going to take everything from you, do a whole reset, redistribute everything, get rid of a whole bunch of people. And that's going to be what it is. And it says in that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you won't be able to participate. You won't be able to work, buy, sell, do anything, because that chip is going to be the key to the digital currency. If you can't obtain any digital currency, if you can't use the digital currency, spend it via the chip, well, then how are you going to live? How are you going to be a part of this man's world? You won't be able to. That's why I said in the verse above that you should be killed. All right, meaning what? It says metaphorically to abolish. When you go into that word in the Greek, I forgot the Greek word, but when you click on it, it basically says you basically vanish away. They don't necessarily gotta kill you. Oh, take the chip or we're gonna kill you. Doesn't even have to be that. It could be that, it will be that for some instances, but most of the time they just say, well, all right, you don't want to be in our new world order, you're going to go out there into the wilderness and die. You don't have no survival skills. They dumbed us down with technology. All right, that surviving instinct that we supposed to have, the hunting instinct, that shit is gone. Men is not men no more. They fucking effeminate homosexuals, sodomites. So they're going to say, okay, you don't want to be a part of it? Fine, go ahead. And what the hell are you going to do? You can't get in the 15-minute city. You can't go to Whole Foods. You got to hunt for food. People is going to die off, man. They're going to starve. And the rest of the people is going to be forced to do it because they're going to feel like they have to do it because their life depends on it. This is what the hour temptation is about. If you fall to that temptation, Yahweh Shema Shah is going to destroy you. That's the last thing that I have to say through the spirit. If you take that chip, you will be burned by nuclear missiles. Once Israel attacks Iran and America, it gets blown up. This is Babylon the Great. This place is going to get hit with nukes. If you take that chip, you're going to be part of that nuclear destruction. All right, according to Revelation 14, 9, and 10. So with that, I say all praises to Yahweh Shema Shah. Hope and pray you were edified through the Holy Spirit. And Lord willing, I'll see you in the next one. Shalom to the elect.